You're listening to Life and Shyt. I'm Danielle Walker.
And I'm Tommy Walker.
Join us as we talk about our journey overcoming fears, boundaries, marriage, family, lifestyle, business, and whatever other shit you can think of.
We're individuals that came together to create one unit with one mind and one goal.
Hey, baby.
What's up, girl?
How are you?
Outstanding.
That's what's up. I got a question for you.
Hit me.
What was the sparkle and the difference between 2020 and 2021?
The difference?
Yes.
I can tell you 2020 seemed like a gravy train. Like our business had took off. Like we were new in transportation. We were just coming up on our 1 year. And because everybody was working from home, we seen a huge increase, and at the same time we were hiring, so it was a great opportunity. And 2021, all stopped. Yeah, it went from living the high life to just like a complete, just like a roller coaster drop. Like your belly go up into your throat.
Yeah, it was on one end, we were hiring a bunch of people who were out of jobs, unfortunately, that were working at restaurants and they were servers and things of that sort. And things opened back up, so they all left.
Yeah.
So they were exiting quick.
Like, everybody was like, my job is open, I'm out.
Yeah, close the back door. They're leaving. They're leaving.
and of course, like our business, transportation, like the demand was high. So it wasn't easy. Mm-hmm. It was very tough, but people, and then after a while, people was just like, I can't do this.
Yes.
It's hard work.
Yes.
5 days a week.
Physically draining. Can I go part-time? Mm-hmm. There was a lot of that. So yeah, we seen a significant impact to our business in 2021, which at the same time, because we were new, from a financial standpoint, I was like, all right, well, whoa, what's happening? Because people were, there was like in our business, people was getting laid off. People couldn't hire. There was a lot of moving parts in the transportation industry, right? Mm-hmm. And then it was like, how do we control it? How do we keep from going under? How do or letting the bottom just come from under us and maintaining? Correct.
So that was something that I learned. That was the real big difference for me in a business standpoint. From a personal standpoint, I feel like I worked harder in 2021 than 2020. Mm-hmm. So therefore, I don't feel like that we've done any of the cool stuff that we used to do. I don't feel like we had much fun. Yeah. It seemed like every time somebody called us or say, hey, let's hang out. I honestly feel like people do not call us anymore. No. Because every time it was like, no. We're busy. And it wasn't like busy, like I'm busy and I don't want to hang out. No, it was legitimately like, I'm just trying to save this ship. Yes. And, by any means necessary, if we're up 13, 14 hours at night trying to do it after working all day. Yeah. That's just what it is.
Yeah, that's true. We had a lot of times and that we had to say no when we wanted to say yes. And then things that we try to kind of squeeze in there. That is very true.
So how would you say it changed for you? What was the difference between the 2 years? Before we go all the way deep into this thing.
There's lots of changes for me. For 2020, it was eye-opening. It was a lot of differences. In 2021, you're right. It was, okay, let's close the back door, get people to stay. I had to think about retention, keeping employees, making employees happy. Hiring was totally different and still is, where people would beg for jobs, want a job, I need a job, but now it's opposite where you're kind of begging people for jobs, So it's a trip to approach it in that way, where, before like, if you want a job, then you're going to do this, and that. And now it's like, no. Well, can you?
Now you're a recruiter.
Yeah, it's just true.
You're not just hiring manager, I'm a recruiter.
Yeah, we had to change the different aspects and the way that we recruit, all of that changed. And so 2021 was definitely, it made me have to be a little more creative on how to keep employees, how to retain them, how to get this retention going, and how to keep them from leaving and just keep them happy, while they're there. So I think that was big.
And what about from a personal standpoint?
From a personal standpoint, I think it was more just the social distancing part, and then coming back together, where it was kind of like, are we supposed to handshake or not handshake, and then people were like, we're just gonna hug now, so and it was so different in 2020 when we were like, okay,
don't touch me.
Yeah. Well,
and it was cool.
First we're like, okay, we're gonna do the knuckles, and then it was like, let's just kind of tap feet, it got to that point, especially when we had so many employees that we were so like kind of close with and would give handshakes every day to. And then now it's like, now it's okay. Now we're just hugging each other again.
Right. Went from tapping elbows back to the hugs.
Yeah. So I think culturally, it was huge for me. And then to have death so close to a lot of us then, and then now it's kind of feels relaxed. That's different, It was different when it's like, people are dying and people are really sick, and then now it doesn't feel so gloomy as it did then. So in 2020, it definitely felt gloomy. It was a lot of uncertainty, and now it feels as if we are going to make it and we're going to get over this, and it feels like we're at the end. It feels like.
I ain't gonna lie. I feel the same exact way about 2021 as I did 2020. I'm ready for this motherfucker to be over. So, but the trip is like how things change and how we had to go into this awkwardness, right? So like at home and even at work, we had a thermometer at the front door.
Yeah.
Right. So you came into our house, you came into the office, every employee had
checking that temperature.
Yeah. Every employee was checking temperatures.
Mm-hmm.
Now we don't do that.
No.
Look at technology has changed. The whole fucking economy has changed.
Yeah.
2021. Why are gas prices over $5?
Oh yeah, that's a whole nother story, right?
That shit's insane.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, I'm ready for this motherfucker to be over.
Yeah. Meetings going from virtual to back to live, and then we kind of went back virtual for a little bit, and then now we're kind of back live again. So that's a trip from 2021 to 2022. I enjoy the live meetings, but I also feel some things could be virtual. I would rather not leave the house for some things, it's like if I didn't have to go, I would rather just enjoy that meeting here.
That's a big thing for a lot of people. Is a lot of people got comfortable with not having to leave,
and I think that's okay if they could still be productive, and you don't have to use that. Now you don't have that drive time. You're saving time. Like I would rather stay here, and in the time that it would take me to drive to this meeting, I could have written up the notes for the next meeting or something like that, So I think that's huge. Vaccinations, that's a big deal too, right? Like in 2020, we weren't really talking about vaccinations yet, were we? Until now,
they were. Yeah, well, vaccination was in process, and it was going back to that. When I was saying we were given deadlines, and all of a sudden nothing happened. But then there was all these experiments, and so it's like, somebody got sick. If somebody rich got sick, or somebody of power got sick, then they were giving an experimental something that helped boost you up. And then the vaccinations were approved right at the end of the year. And now, shit, you can't even bring up vaccinations without somebody feeling some kind of way.
Oh, my goodness.
It's like, do I want to let people know I'm vaccinated?
I know.
Or no, do I? So exposing vaccination is gotten weird. Like, why is that an awkward conversation?
Yeah. Well, and then I saw just today that they're saying that they're gonna put a curfew on people who are not vaccinated, and I don't understand that.
That makes absolutely
I don't
no
understand
sense.
the whole thing either. You're right, baby. I just I think that I don't know. It's kind of gone. It's taken on this whole different life of itself. So. But hey, more power to whoever you are and whatever you want to do. If it's vaccinate or not, the choice is yours.
Mm-hmm. So one thing I am impressed with is how technology evolved. It seems like we had to, like, technology was already, the shit, like, right? We're almost into that Jetson era. I feel like, because a part of me barely remembers 2020. Like there's some part of like, oh yeah, that did happen in 2020. Like if you ask me who won the NBA championship, I'll forget.
Right.
I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. They did have a bubble tournament. So technology kind of sped up with
the Lakers did.
Yeah, I know, that's why it wasn't the New York Knicks.
It sure wasn't.
So New York Knicks wasn't even in the bubble. They wasn't invited. So technology sped up and it's getting better. And, now we're talking metaverse and things is just literally leaps and bounds faster. Like you said, the meetings, like everything seems almost more efficient. Like we've become robots in our own sense of being more productive, more efficient in 2021. And I don't know, I think a part of me feels like that might bite us in the ass a little bit. You know what I mean? Because the expectations are going to be here based off of efficiency, where it's not really like it shouldn't be like that if we don't have to.
What do you mean?
Well, we're utilizing technology, like, and I'm talking about, this augmented reality and virtual reality, and where when you go into some offices, they're like, hey, you could work now with your counterparts in the Middle East if you sit in this fake room and then collaborate together. So now it's a to me, it's almost a false sense of collaboration, right? Because I'm in this room where I could create the air and I create the environment, where naturally my aurora, my energy is what creates that cohesiveness.
Oh, so you're saying that perhaps your same energy or aura will not be sensed over this augmented like reality.
Exactly.
I mean, and you can be sitting in the meeting as a dragon, so there's that, right? Like,
so
or
now
as a princess.
I'm giving off my dragon energy during a board meeting. Like that's where we are in technology right now. If you think about it, like the game has changed in a year.
No, I understand what you're saying, but if it was my business, then we were doing something like that, then I would allow it. But you would have to be a person. You'd have to actually be that person.
So I couldn't come in with my dragon outfit
because it's like it's gonna be hard to really talk business with you. Yes, but I think. I do like the thought of having we have virtual assistants, and if I was able to put on virtual goggles and they had on virtual goggles and we had a meeting that way instead of what we have now is Zooms, I would rather meet that way, and I think it would be kind of personable. Even more so because we would meet inside of a living room or whatever the choice of the places that we would want to meet.
Yep, a home.
Right. And it would be comfortable. We'd sit down, we'd laugh because you can recognize our facial expressions and everything. I think that my aura would still come over and come across to them. I would love that. I would love that, especially if I could like share screens. I mean, I don't know how deep it would get, but like if I'm like, okay, let's go to your Trello board.
That's coming from someone who has not put on virtual reality goggles in a long time.
It's true.
But you love that.
True.
That's what I can see where you're coming from, but man, give me that human touch all day. Give me that. Let's sit in a room. Let's vibe. Let's get either a heated conversation or a cohesiveness. But either way, I need that. I need that energy.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I could feel that.
Another difference too is like, when I was a real estate guy for a few years, right? I did 5 years in real estate, and that was a huge thing. Like we bought real estate in 2020. That was a headache. I think one of my biggest frustrations with real estate in 2020 was they would not allow our industry to get any kind of financing because we were considered a volatile industry. Now, transportation is one of the most booming industries in 2020, 2021. You look at the growth of transportation companies, you see the demand is there, but financial institutions would not allow people that was in that industry to get financing. Like that to me was a huge headache.
Yeah, I could see that. But I mean, I understand as well because they're like, okay, look, listen, everyone's at home now and everyone wants things delivered now. But what about when it's not that way? And then what? You know what I mean? So it didn't seem like a smart investment. And I understand.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
I understand.
Like we jumped through a major hoop, and when we was buying real estate in 2020, now the market is overpriced. Like honestly, I got out of real estate because of
The
where the
overpriced.
market was.
Yeah, it's true, and it's funny because I remember, and I love that about you, and I love that like for you and how you are with business because I remember you were trying to sell someone's house and they wanted you to do it like $10,000 like over what it should have been. And you're like, no, like first off, it's not even right. Your
Yeah.
house isn't worth that much, you know? But then I see real estate agents and they're like, and I got $10,000 over the asking price. And I'm like, oh,
All day.
like, ugh.
We hang our hat on that. It depends on what side you're on.
Yeah, yeah.
It really does depend on what
So it's
side.
like, ooh. I think another difference between 2021 and 2020 is that in 2020, I cooked more. I kind of had
did.
I had an urge to cook because we couldn't go anywhere. So, you can't go out to eat, and there was only so many places that were Uber eating, and it's some places, a lot of places, you realize that you want to eat in them. That's the experience, right? You don't want to get it taken to go because you want to go to the restaurant
Yeah.
and see it and have the server come out, and that's the whole deal. So I cook more, and then in 2021 it's like everything's open, like, and there's so many new things, there's so many new
You do
places.
not cook at all.
I don't even have that urge to cook. I have to cook tonight, and I'm not even I don't even really got to cook. I already cooked last night. I'm just gonna be warming up what I cooked last night, and that's not even gonna. I don't even want to do that.
I thought it was leftovers.
It is.
But you definitely
I gotta
don't
warm
cook
it up.
right.
Like,
You don't cook. One thing I do appreciate about what we've learned, and I don't know if we're coming out of this pandemic or what are we doing, but people say let's getting back to normal, but it's like we need to get back to better than normal, right? Like ultimately, I think that's what my intentions are, is getting better than where I was and learning and being a new business owner at the scale of where we are. I think that's the biggest thing, is learning how to run a business through a pandemic and now on the other side of a pandemic. Like how you said, we've learned how to treat our employees differently and how to recruit and onboarding. Like all of that stuff is all different, where before it was just pretty straight, straightforward. I got an ad, I got X amount of jobs open, I'm gonna fill them, and then that's it.
Right.
And now it's almost negotiating for a lot of it. So learning how to be a better CEO was one of the things that because being a CEO for 2 years, like I don't know shit.
right.
And then and going through this, it was like, wow, being around people and like minds and throwing ideas back and forth with each other and throwing back and forth ideas with us. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I know it made me a better COO. Definitely, because the operations changed totally. There was lots of things that was like, okay, well, this is the way we used to do it, but now we need to do it this way. And it made me adapt more to change. I'm already okay with change, about change. Who Moved My Cheese? It's a huge book about change. I
Dope.
worked for
That's a dope book.
Yeah, I worked for the Hilton, and we were going through a huge major merger, and they gave everybody that book because they knew change was coming, and it was a book that helped you to deal with the change. There's a lot of people who were, I would say, I guess as older, mature, and they were not with change at all. So that book really helped a lot. But yeah, lots of changes, and made me a better COO, and my mind opened to different opportunities and ways to do things.
And I'm glad you said that, because there was a lot of missed opportunities in 2020, and now we're seeing opportunities and taking more risk. I mean, we took a big risk, part of the construction of a coffee shop, and we walked away from a significant amount of money because of sabotage on that part, like legitimately was sabotaging a project, and had to walk away from a significant amount of money, $80,000.
That was huge, because we were opening up a business, and then someone opened up the same thing right next to us. So it was it was definitely a sabotage. It was a shot in the foot. But we rise, like the phoenix. We will forever. We burnt it to the ground.
100%.
We lost the money, and we moved on. Since then, though, we launched the coffee shop site. So we're now in an e-commerce business, which is fun.
Very true.
Super fun right now. It's new to us, so it's like our baby right now. So we're like, okay, this is our little baby that we have, and
it is. And I look at it every day. So e-commerce is like I've never really understood the e-commerce side of it, because I've always been in logistics, and for 15 years in the logistics world, we seen the end result of e-commerce, right? It was like, all right, somebody did a thing, and now that thing is here, and it is now my job to get it to
you.
Yeah. So I understood that, and now being on the front end of the e-commerce world, like, it is a baby. I'm looking at it like, this is amazing. Like that, and again, it goes back to that technology. So thementalbar.com. Yes, that's a little plug. Check out thementalbar.com.
For all your
super
tea,
dope
coffee needs.
Super dope website. Yes. So at the end of the day, for me, my final thought on 2021 is hurry up and get over. I'm already thinking about 2022 and how we're going to crush it in 2022. And I think I'm more excited about taking everything that I've learned in 2021 and implementing in 2022. I think that's kind of where I am with that.
I like it. My final thought is that when we think of 2020 versus 2021, I think that a lot of people were brave enough to suck at something new, but they were brave enough to start it. So
that's pretty dope.
I like that. And then we learned to take risk and then still kind of play it safe, because we were at home, so we were able to do things that we wouldn't have usually done, but to do it kind of safely. So 2021 has taught us a lot. 2020 taught us a ton, and just like you said, I'm ready for both to be done.
This is Lyfe and Shyt.
I love you.
I love you.
Tommy and Dani.
Do us a favor. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe. Leave a review. Let us know what your thoughts are. That's the only way that this show is going to be successful. And we appreciate you. Talk with you next time.